Annual summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is being held in Tajikistan's capital, Dushanbe. The focus of the meeting is recent developments in Afghanistan and regional security. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi led the Indian delegation at the 21st SCO meeting. Citing the Afghanistan situation, PM Modi raised the issue of growing radicalisation and extremism in the region. He said the SCO must work on radicalisation as a priority, and India also raised the issue of counter-terrorism strategy. He made the comments in the presence of Pakistan PM Imran Khan while addressing the much-awaited summit.
मेरा मानना है कि इस क्षेत्र में सबसे बड़ी चुनौतियां शांति, सुरक्षा और ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट से संबंधित है और इन समस्याओं का मूल कारण बढ़ता हुआ रेडिकलाइजेशन है। अफगानिस्तान में हाल के घटनाक्रम ने इस चुनौती को और स्पष्ट कर दिया है। इस मुद्दे पर एससीओ को पहल लेकर कार्य करना चाहिए।
PM Modi also stressed the importance of increasing connectivity among Central Asian countries to boost their market economy. This is the fourth such summit where India has participated as a fully fledged member of the SCO.
भारत सेंट्रल एशिया के साथ अपनी कनेक्टिविटी बढ़ाने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। हमारा मानना है कि लैंडलॉक्ड सेंट्रल एशियाई देशों को भारत के विशाल बाजार से जुड़कर अपार लाभ हो सकता है।
China's President Xi Jinping also urged member nations to help drive a smooth transition in Afghanistan. He said SCO member states should guide Afghanistan to develop an inclusive political structure and follow moderate internal and external policies. Russian President Vladimir Putin joined the meeting via video link and called for contacts between the SCO and Kabul. Putin, however, did not mention any concrete steps.
Today, the Taliban control practically the entire territory of Afghanistan, and the new Afghan authorities should be encouraged to fulfill their own promises to establish peace, normalize public life, and ensure security for all.
Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev urged member states to unfreeze Afghanistan's assets kept in foreign banks and pushed for the facilitation of dialogue with the Taliban government in Kabul. This after the US denied access to any Afghan assets in its central banks. The International Monetary Fund has also said Afghanistan will not have access to its resources. The Uzbek president echoed Prime Minister Modi's efforts to prevent the rise of extremism. Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan called for economic support for Afghanistan. He said the urgent priorities are to prevent a humanitarian crisis and economic meltdown. In what appeared to be a dig at the Ghani government, Imran Khan said the previous administrations in Afghanistan had depended heavily on foreign aid and warned its removal could lead to an economic collapse in the country. He urged the Taliban to create an inclusive political structure with ethnic groups. Pakistan has had deep ties with the Taliban and has been accused of supporting the group as it battled the US-backed government in Kabul for 20 years. Islamabad has repeatedly denied these charges. Host nation Tajikistan proposed creating a security belt around Afghanistan to prevent the potential expansion of terrorist groups. Afghanistan's neighbour Kazakhstan also called on the bloc to launch an informal dialogue with the new Afghan government. The Kazakh president raised concerns over a desperate food and humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan. The 8-member Shanghai Cooperation Organization has been going 21 years. Its member states are China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, India and Pakistan. This year's SCO Summit was the first meeting of the heads of states since the Taliban's takeover of Kabul. And we can cross live now to WION's principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, who is joining us from New Delhi. And Siddhant, can we say that any firm measures or action points have come out of this summit?
Well, even as we speak right now, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's speech is being played, and he is talking about Afghanistan. This is a significant statement made by the Indian Prime Minister. For the first time, the Indian Prime Minister is just speaking on Afghanistan since Taliban takeover. Whatever I can hear, the biggest key takeaway from the Indian Prime Minister's speech was that the government, or the dispensation, to use the word or the phrase, is not inclusive. This is the Indian government for the first time saying that the dispensation is not inclusive. It does not have women representation, and it was formed without any negotiations, any talks. So clearly India has for the first time taken the position on the development at the SCO meeting, and this was expected in terms of SCO countries having, of course, key stakes in Afghanistan. Instability in the region in Afghanistan impacts two Central Asian countries, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan, who share land border with Afghanistan, and they fear that there can be a refugee influx in their country. But other than that, we know that earlier also the Indian Prime Minister spoke. He talked about how Sufism, a moderate strand of Islam, can benefit the region in terms of fighting radicalism. This the Sufism is something that was popular and remains popular in the Central Asian region. He talked about connectivity as well at the SCO meeting, talking about how connectivity should be transparent. This, of course, is directed at China, given the fact that the Chinese connectivity projects are projects which do not follow transparency, financial accountability.
और अफगानिस्तान के हर भाग में हमने अपना योगदान दिया है। आज भी हम अपने अफगान मित्रों तक खाद्य सामग्री, दवाइयां आदि पहुंचाने के लिए इच्छुक हैं। हम सभी को मिलकर यह सुनिश्चित करना चाहिए कि अफगानिस्तान तक मानवीय सहायता निर्विघ्न तरीके से पहुंच सके। एक्सेलेंसीज, अफगान और भारतीय लोगों के बीच सदियों से एक विशेष संबंध रहा है। अफगान समाज की सहायता के लिए हर क्षेत्रीय या वैश्विक पहल को भारत का पूर्ण सहयोग रहेगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi talking about Afghanistan. It is for the first time that the Indian Prime Minister has talked about Afghanistan. Just on Afghanistan.